Okay. Now, the first patron, according to our records anyway, was Bill Hayward, and we have him as patron from 75 to 1983. How did the connection with Bill Hayward come about?
Well, the whole thing started because I was doing the Mitcham Village sketchbook. Now, I spent 2 years researching that with my colleague Christine, and one of the buildings that we featured in that was Carrick Hill. And I was very lucky to be able to go up there when I explained what we were doing. I was invited up to the house. Now, at that stage, they had never allowed anybody connected with the press to come in the house to do anything at all. So I think I was very privileged to be able to sit in there for several days and sketch the wonderful big staircase in there. And the Haywoods would often come down and buy things in the gallery, and they were very, very supportive.
Oh, okay. So as you were sitting there sketching in Carrick Hill, so is this Ursula or is this his second wife?
This is his second wife.
Yeah.
I never met Ursula. She was well and truly dead.
She was, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bill Hayward and his wife would come and watch what you were doing, or did they have any input into what you were doing?
They took an interest. They would come down to some of the exhibitions, and as I said, they frequently came down and bought things because they had a country cottage down on the peninsula somewhere, and particularly his wife would come in and buy pieces of pottery to take down to the cottage.
Oh. So the role of patron for, at that stage it was called Mitcham Village Art and Crafts Proprietary Limited. What did he actually do? Did he come to meetings or openings or?
No, he didn't. It was mainly his wife who was the one who came in fairly often to just check out what we had in the gallery.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yes.
And did we ever get to go to Carrick Hill?
Several times I suggested that we might have a tour of Carrick Hill, but in those days it was very much closed to the public.
Yeah, private residence.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
All right, and so I suppose at this point we get to how we came to move to these premises. So what happened?
Well, first of all, let's go back. The main reason I started the Art and Crafts Centre was to promote what was left of the old village of Mitcham, because it's one of the earliest parts of Adelaide, settled in 1840, and so many of the original shops and cottages were still there, with a little bit of inbuilt newer ones, but the crux of the village was still available. And I thought, to protect this area, that was one of my main reasons for starting it, and also to make it a centre of excellence for the arts and crafts. And I think when we started it, it was just an ideal time in the early 70s, because the federal government had set up the craft board and
Was this the Whitlam government?
Can't remember now.
I think it probably would have been.
Yes. And they were providing some money to promote community art and crafts. So we did get a small group of money from them originally as well. That did help. So, as I said, my main role was to try and promote what was left of the village itself and to make it a centre of the arts and crafts. Now, we were around in the old shop for 17 years, and it was really just a busy place. At our maximum, I think we had 35 tutors and a maximum of about 250 students each week coming in and out, and we did absolutely everything. We had weaving and tie-dyeing and batik and pottery and craft all kinds of macrame, you name it, we did it. And so it was a very busy place. And then in 1991, in February, there was an arson attack. We weren't the only ones hit. They did a lot of damage around the area. There were bushfires set around Brown Hill. There were doctors' surgeries. There were schools that were attacked. They obviously didn't want to hurt anybody because they were all buildings that were empty at the time. So this arson attack occurred in about 2 o'clock in the morning, and all that was left was the outside walls, basically, just a shell of the place. So we were all in tears, as you can imagine. Everything was gone. So we picked up the dregs of what we could, and at that stage the East Wing here in the Institute had just recently been evacuated because the kindergarten had moved from the East Wing to another building, and so the East Wing here was available. And so we moved in there, and for 3 years we crammed into just the East Wing. We had a very tiny little gallery, we had a few classes, and we had a little office set up in there. So it was quite cramped for a while, but we had managed to, over the years, get a little bit of a bank balance together. And when Mitcham Council decided at long last to restore the old Institute building, which at one stage they were going to demolish the whole thing, and we were very involved in helping to save that. And can we have a break for a minute?
Absolutely.
My voice is going.
Yeah.